This week, we're putting on our next-gen specs, strapping on our brain controls, and entering the Metaverse. Just a normal day in the office, really. Hey, welcome to Click. Let me hit you straight away with a buzzword that you might have heard being thrown around recently. Lara, you ready for a buzzword?
Always ready.
Okay. The Metaverse. What do you think of the idea?
Mark Zuckerberg's vision that it won't be long before we're all working, playing and living in this whole virtual universe. It reminds me of Second Life from about 15 years ago. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. This was an early realisation of the sci-fi idea that's been around for as long as I can remember.
But the tech wasn't up to it then.
No, it wasn't, but of course things have moved along. We look a lot better online than we used to, I have to say.
I guess it balances out the ageing bit. But the last 18 months have felt a bit like living in a virtual world. So I've got mixed feelings about this, because is it actually the last thing that people want right now? Or could it potentially help with some of the isolation and other challenges?
Well, Zuckerberg certainly seems to think we're ready. He's now talking about Facebook evolving from a social media company into a metaverse company, which begs the question, what are you on about, Mark?
Well, here with Metaverse 101, Mark Chislak invites you to enrol in Click's Metaversity.
What do pop star Ariana Grande, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney, and video games all have in common? They've all recently been cited as heralds of the Metaverse. The Metaverse has been described as what comes after the internet. In its simplest terms, it's a social hub where users can interact with one another as avatars across a host of digital worlds. Is any of this starting to sound familiar?
A lot of companies are talking about creating a metaverse in that they want to become a platform where people can exist at all times. They want to create social spaces where people can come and hang out with their friends, they can watch movies, they can do everything that they would do in the normal life but within that platform. Almost like the movie Ready Player One in a way.
This is the Oasis. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination.
Steven Spielberg's 2018 movie adaptation of Ernest Cline's novel of the same name tells the tale of a downtrodden teen hero who escapes the dystopian sprawl of a near-future America by spending as much time as possible online in a multiplayer virtual world. A place which mashes up characters and pop culture themes from movies, comics and games.
It was another sci-fi novel that coined the phrase metaverse, though. Neil Stephenson's 1992 book, Snow Crash, which also has a hero who's got a crummy life who escapes into a virtual world, the metaverse.
Hollywood-style VR does sort of exist today, championed by an Australian outfit called Zero Latency.
The closest that we have to free-roaming VR is this spatial virtual reality setup from a company called Meat Space VR. I have a backpack here which contains a computer, a VR headset, and this rifle which has controllers in it. The headset looks for markers on the floor to figure out where it is in three-dimensional space.
Here I'm solving puzzles in a mind-bending Aztec temple in an experience called Engineerium.
I don't have any sensation that the floor is moving, but my brain kind of thinks that it is.
I can sample shooting stuff in the VR version of blockbuster action franchise Far Cry.
That was intense.
With the headset and headphones on, I'm completely immersed in these virtual experiences. Part of the reason we're hearing so much about the metaverse is because technology like this now exists. Richard Bartle was there at the very dawn of multiplayer experiences in 1978. He was one of the brains behind the world's first multiplayer virtual world, the text adventure multi-user dungeon, or MUD. Now a professor of computer game design at the University of Essex, Bartle believes there's a specific set of rules which define the idea of the metaverse.
Okay, so the metaverse is essentially a marketing concept. We have universes, which are self-contained realities. Then we have multiverses, which are realities that you can move between, so they're effectively the same reality. And then we have a metaverse, which is all one reality, but it's got a whole bunch of other ones interconnected. So, as an example, something like World of Warcraft is a universe you can't take anything into or out of. World of Warcraft, it's self-contained. Something like Roblox, or Roblox, however you want to pronounce it, is a multiverse, in that your character, you can move from one interior world to another interior world. The metaverse, however, means that you can move from one universe to another universe. So you can, in theory, have a character in a metaverse which will move from World of Warcraft to EVE Online to Final Fantasy XIV. That's the theory. Whether it'll work in practice is another matter.
You need a pretty big space to experience VR as elaborately as this, but perhaps the metaverse will be experienced in different ways. Some would argue that the first seeds of the metaverse are being sown in contemporary video games.
Earlier this summer, Ariana Grande became the latest performer to put on a series of virtual concerts inside the popular online multiplayer game Fortnite.
For Epic Games, getting such high quality acts is such a legitimizing thing. It is really saying to the industry and beyond that Fortnite is not just a game, it's a place for people to come together, and the importance of that is, drawing in these acts that are sort of outside of the usual gaming industry, like Ariana Grande.
Grande joins a long list of artists to play a gig in the game, including the likes of DJs Diplo and Marshmello, UK band Easy Life, and US hip-hop artist Travis Scott.
This right here is astronomical.
But so far, Ariana Grande is probably the biggest and most mainstream act to perform in the game.
So I think the metaverse is something that's going to get us closer to simulation and shared understandings with each other in a virtual space like never before. And I think that is something that we're at the very beginning of. I know it's become a word that has become very popular lately. We're still defining it, and that's pretty exciting. I think everybody's going to be putting their own, take on it.
Games give us a glimpse of what a potential metaverse might look like, but there's a bigger question driving the recent interest in this idea, and that is who or what will have control over the platform.
Imagine back in the day when we had the internet, there were companies vying to be the internet. There was about 5 of them in America. They were information providers, they call themselves. Ultimately, it didn't work. They had to accept that the internet was standalone platforms all communicating. But the metaverse, that's another thing entirely, because if you control the platform, then you control all that goes on within it. So if everybody did pile into Roblox, and they did all build all their worlds in Roblox, then Roblox would own the metaverse. So obviously the likes of Google, Microsoft would not like that to happen. They would like to be the ones who own it.
What we've experienced over the past 5 years or so, and in particular during the pandemic, is a recognition of the behaviors are now here. Virtual worlds are common, they're popular, they're diverse. We're now at that part where the metaverse starts to feel very real, even if its fruition remains distant.
Fortunes rise and fall in the world of technology. Companies taking those first steps down the long road to creating the metaverse might not even be around when and if the idea becomes a reality.
Come on, where you at?
Hello, hope you're having a good week and welcome to the Week in Tech. It's the week Twitter is testing a soft blocking feature which removes followers without letting them know. Apple Wallet added capability to store driver's licenses in some US states. And Spotify rolled out Blend, which selects songs to match two people's tastes in music at the same time. El Salvador has made cryptocurrency Bitcoin legal tender amid protests and technical glitches. The Salvadoran government says using Bitcoin could save fees on money sent from abroad, but some are worried about cryptocurrency's stability and ease of adoption. This was illustrated on the day as Bitcoin's price at one point crashed by 20%. 2 robots have been deployed in Singapore to discourage poor social behaviour. The robots, both called Xavier, use cameras to detect people smoking in prohibited areas, flouting COVID-19 safety measures, or parking their bikes improperly. And finally, MIT turned on a massive, high-temperature superconducting magnet called Spark as part of its research into fusion power. With a field strength of 20 Tesla, you're looking at the most powerful magnetic field of its kind ever created on Earth. The project, due for completion in 2025, aims to pave the way for carbon-free power generation. I bet the engineers find this project very attractive.
These are the first Facebook glasses, a partnership with the luxury eyewear brand Ray-Ban. It's no secret that Facebook's been working on augmented reality glasses that can project images into your eyes, and these glasses do none of that. These are basically just a pair of glasses with cameras in. They're actually very similar to the Snapchat spectacles that were released in 2016, although every time I mentioned that to Facebook, they insisted this is a very different product. To use them, you press the button to take a video, press and hold to take a photo, and you can also use voice commands like, "Hey Facebook, take a video." There are also some built-in speakers, so you can use them to listen to music or make phone calls, although when I tried that on the noisy high street, they were nowhere near loud enough to be remotely useful. So I'm going to focus on the cameras. Now, the idea behind these is that you can leave your phone in your bag, but still have a way to capture little moments hands-free as and when they arise. And I quite like that as a concept. So taking it at face value, I tried them out over the weekend. I met up with some friends, I went to a concert, I took loads of footage, and then when I came to download it to my phone, the glasses had corrupted and all the footage was lost. So you're not getting any of that. Instead, here's my last-minute backup option of meeting a friend for coffee in the park. The specs record these square videos, and nothing is automatically posted to Facebook or live streamed. Instead, you download the clips at the end of the day, and you can post them wherever you like. Facebook says one use case is if you have children, and I can see that being fairly useful because you can put your phone away but still capture some nice moments. I took a video of this dog taking a swim, and I think the footage looks pretty good. Here's the same moment captured on my smartphone, and I think the smartphone version looks better, but obviously you have a greater selection of lenses on there and probably a bigger sensor. I think the camera glasses look okay, and if it was the only footage you have, that's better than no footage. Now, I did feel a bit silly wearing these sunglasses indoors to take a video, but they do versions with clear lenses, sunglasses, and ones that transition between both. A lot of people will have questions about privacy, and I can see why they've branded these Ray-Ban stories rather than Facebook glasses or Insta specs. Ultimately, if somebody's inclined to take hidden camera footage in a changing room, they can do that with a phone already. They don't need to spend $300 on a pair of glasses. But even so, I thought they might be a bit more obvious when recording video because they do just look like an ordinary pair of Ray-Bans. There is an LED that lights up when you're recording, but maybe it's too subtle. My housemate thought it was just a reflection on the glasses. It could have been a red flashing recording light, and in comparison, the Snapchat specs were a lot more obvious when recording. So I called Facebook's head of AR and VR, Andrew Bosworth, to ask him about privacy.
I mean, I think to some degree we deal with this today. You've got mobile phones that people have out there that all have cameras on them. And so there is a degree to which our goal was to be, at least more overt than what people are doing today with their phones. And I think we've achieved that goal. If you have your phone out, you could be taking pictures. There's really no way for bystanders to know that you're doing that. And people are known to have their phones out. So I think the glasses are, we think, quite a bit more overt than that. You have the LED, you also have an audio sound, and you also have to take an explicit action. So I either have to move my hand to my temple and press the button, or I have to use my voice to say, take a picture if I've enabled that feature. So I think there's a lot more opportunities really for bystanders to know. And this isn't something we left to chance. We knew this was one of the most important things to get right.
One thing that makes me feel really old is they say when you ask people maybe our age, take a photo, then we gesture like this. And if you ask teenagers to do it now, they go like this.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe you're going to bring back this, which is like...
Bring it back, just go...
Bring it back full circle.
That's right, absolutely.
There's been a lot of talk about Facebook bringing out full augmented reality glasses with a display in them. Is this just a sort of stopgap to get people used to the idea of everybody wearing camera glasses?
Yeah, you've nailed it, Chris. I think for us, going back even a year, we were talking about previous projects that we've had, and we do have AR glasses in the pipeline. We really want to have a conversation, a dialogue with consumers around the world on, what are the standards and expectations they have for the types of computers that we're going to wear in the future. And this is really our first foray into putting something on someone's face. And we're really excited about it and seeing how people react to it. I think it's a great product. I've been using it myself. But it is like the first in a series of products that give people more functionality and more capability through a pair of glasses.
That was Chris talking to Boz at Facebook. How weird. I really was expecting those glasses to be augmented reality glasses, weren't you?
Yes, and it's not like the technology doesn't exist. There are those smart swimming goggles that give you real-time data, and that's underwater.
I know. I guess the tech isn't quite compact enough to fit inside normal glasses just yet.
But maybe one day they'll be good enough to interact with the metaverse. And speaking of interacting, Osman Iqbal has been trying a whole new way of controlling things with his mind.
So here I am, with a strange band strapped to my head, looking very proud of myself for switching on a toy lightsaber. But so what? Well, whilst it looks like a poor man's Comic-Con, I'm actually here to experience the future of tech. It's all part of a new industry that wants technology to interface with our brains. What could go wrong? But whilst I'm playing with Star Wars toys, Elon Musk is planning to create superhumans by surgically implanting chips in their brains. They've already released footage of a monkey playing a video game with its mind, and a real-time link to the neural activity picked up from a chip implanted in a pig's brain.
But now you don't need brain implants to control machines. Headsets like this let you control devices just by concentrating on them. So all you need to do is strap on some headgear and use the power of your mind. Come on.
In principle, it's quite straightforward. The EEG sensors on this headset measure electrical signals in your brain, deciphering two mental states, your focus or calmness. Once you reach a threshold for either, an action is triggered.
Alright, come on, fan. Switch you on. I switched on the fan. It's like technology telekinesis, isn't it? That's amazing.
Yes, of course, we'll get to a point where we can say things like turn the lights off and turn the lights on, but to me that's never been what's exciting. By focusing on simply moving things with the mind, I think we take away from the real power of the technology, which is being able to learn about our minds, being able to strengthen our mental faculties, rather than just being able to do things so that we have to do less. The number one benefit we can bring to society and to youngsters and the next generation is consciousness of mind. We have achieved far greater than any other technology or previous generation.
Much of the brain-computer research has traditionally been done to help people with restricted mobility, and the breakthroughs prove that this could be a game changer. But now there are a whole host of headgear-based neurotech companies springing up in the consumer space. And one of those is French startup NextMind, who have created a headset that lets you control computer interfaces just by thinking about it.
So really simply, this is an EEG sensor that sits at the back of your head. It measures the electrical activity in the visual cortex and detects what you're looking at.
The visual cortex is the part of the brain that processes what we see. When you're looking at specific points on the screen, the sensor detects that increase in visual concentration and communicates what button you want to push. A few demos show you what's possible. I can blow up enemy squares in games and use my mind as a television remote control. But the simplest demo actually had the greatest impact. You're asked to enter a PIN number just by focusing on the buttons to click, and the feeling of control is astonishing.
Wow.
Where I see it really totally exploding is with the combination of AR. So in a few years from now, we will have AR glasses like your glasses right now. They're going to have AR, and they're going to allow you also to be in symbiosis, in immersion with the environment by basically linking your brain directly to the virtual events, to the virtual contents. And then you will be able to basically control anything virtual, anything augmented directly with your brain.
I drafted in my colleague Paul Carter to get his thoughts.
Oh, go on. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Get some funk on it.
So you're actually doing this?
Yeah, I think so. Anyway. Yeah. This is awesome.
And it turned out that the key takeaway was to not put the headset on too tightly.
My head actually feels numb. I feel like you cut off the blood supply. Ow.
Do you know what?
Oh God, the top of my head's numb. I'm gonna get pins and needles in my scalp. In terms of what this might offer people with restricted mobility, who can't move, can't use their arms, and need new ways to interface with technology, then look, potentially this is absolutely extraordinary. Does it need a bit of work? Yes, but I'm tempering that with the fact that I've just sat here and controlled things with my brain, and that's pretty incredible.
But despite some amazing applications, there could be a dark side to this technology. The problem comes when we don't just measure the activity in the brain, but we try to directly influence it. That means we could do things like read someone's thoughts, or change their perception of reality, or even make them act against their free will.
My biggest worry is mental privacy. You could imagine using them for interrogation, for example. They ask a question, and just by the image that the person recalls, they can figure out what the person is thinking. Technology companies have jumped into neurotech in a big way. Also means that they're very keen on getting their hands on mental data, on neural data, and I think that should be protected.
It may sound far-fetched, but Elon Musk is already working towards writing to the brain to augment human knowledge. And Dr. Eustace has taken control of a mouse's mind. Now he's campaigning for ethical frameworks and strict regulations.
This type of technology is so powerful. This goes to the heart of what makes us human, which is the human mind. This is the first time that humanity has technology that enables you to directly tap into the mind. This is not another little privacy issue. No, this is the mother of all privacy issues. This is your mental privacy.
This is not going to work, is it?
So whilst there's a danger that our brains could be manipulated in the future, if my experience of mind control is anything to go by, we should be safe, at least for now.
That was Oz. What a fascinating topic.
Fascinating but frightening.
I know. What do you think about it? Let us know your thoughts. Thank you. And that's it for this week.
As ever, you can keep up with the team on social media. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at BBC Click.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.